The Pacific Islands are often divided into three main areas. 1. Melanesia, to the southwest. 2. Micronesia, to the northwest. And 3. Polynesia, to the east. The land and climate differ greatly throughout Oceania. Many of the islands are famous for their white beaches and swaying palm trees. Other islands have thick jungles and tall mountain peaks. Many lowland areas in these islands are steaming hot, but the tallest mountain peaks are covered with snow throughout the year. About 22 million people live in the Pacific Islands. The largest populations are on New Guinea and on the islands that make up Fiji, Hawaii, and New Zealand. In most Pacific Island countries, many people speak or understand English. French Polynesia and New Caledonia are in the French-speaking Pacific. The first Pacific Islanders came from Southeast Asia several thousand years ago. Over many centuries, they settled most of the islands of the Pacific and developed a variety of complex cultures. Europeans first arrived in the Pacific in the 1500s. The Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan called the ocean the Pacific, meaning peaceful. After he emerged into the calm ocean following a turbulent passage through the strait south of South America. The name Oceania came into use during the early 1800s. Europeans dramatically affected Pacific Island societies and cultures. Europeans brought capitalism, Christianity, and new ideas about land ownership. They also brought diseases that devastated many island communities. Most parts of the Pacific Islands did not encounter Europeans until the 1700s. By the late 1800s, several European nations, as well as Japan and the United States, had taken control of much of Oceania. These colonizing nations brought their own ways of life to the islands. The Pacific Islands feature a diverse group of cultures and communities. Experts believe the first settlers in the Pacific Islands voyaged from Southeast Asia, southern China, and Taiwan thousands of years ago. These early settlers covered thousands of miles by means of rafts and voyaging canoes, and followed land bridges whenever possible. Over many centuries, most of the islands of the Pacific became settled, and a variety of complex cultures emerged. This variety reflected differences in geography and environment, social organization, and the resources the early settlers brought. The lifestyles of most inhabitants of the large islands emphasized sophisticated farming techniques. People on smaller islands developed complex fishing and gathering skills. Such skills as canoe building, mat weaving, and tool crafting led to extensive trade networks. When European explorers visited the Pacific Islands, they noted that the island communities had different languages, religions, and customs from one another. In 1831, the French explorer Jules Dumont d'Urville proposed the division of the Pacific Islands into Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. He based the divisions on the geography of the islands, and on how he viewed the culture and ethnic background of the native peoples. Melanesians inhabit the islands of the southwestern Pacific. The name Melanesia comes from Greek words meaning black islands. Early visitors to the region gave it this name because of the dark skin of its inhabitants. Melanesia today includes the independent countries of Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu, as well as the French territory of New Caledonia. The country of Fiji is also included in Melanesia. Even though it shares many cultural characteristics with Polynesia, most Melanesian islands lie south of the equator. Although the term Melanesia is based on a racial classification now abandoned by anthropologists, many modern islanders embrace it. Anthropologists describe typical Melanesian societies as big man systems. In these systems, men are essentially equal. Informal leaders, called big men, gain influence, wealth, and status by virtue of their speaking skills and powerful personalities. Micronesians inhabit the islands of the central and northwestern Pacific. The name Micronesia comes from Greek words meaning tiny islands. These islands lie north of Melanesia, and most of them also lie north of the equator. More than 2,000 islands, mostly low-lying coral islands, make up Micronesia. Micronesia includes Guam, the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas, the Federated States of Micronesia, Nauru, Palau, and the republics of Kiribati and of the Marshall Islands. The islands of Micronesia are politically divided between those that had colonial relations with the United States and those now within the countries of Kiribati and Nauru that did not. Micronesia has a wide variety of cultures and languages. The region contains both hierarchical societies, in which certain people are more powerful than others, and egalitarian societies, in which people are essentially equal. Polynesians are the peoples of the Eastern Pacific. Polynesia comes from Greek words meaning many islands. Polynesia occupies the largest area in the South Pacific, stretching from Midway Island in the north to New Zealand, 5,000 miles, 8,000 kilometers to the south. American Samoa, the Cook Islands, French Polynesia, Hawaii, New Zealand, Niue, Samoa, Tokelau Tonga, Tuvalu and Wallis, and Futuna are in Polynesia. The Polynesian Islands are the most recently settled area of all Oceania. Many Polynesian groups, including those of Hawaii and Tahiti, as well as New Zealand's Mborikan, trace their genealogical connections to each other. Scientists believe that the first Polynesians were seafaring peoples who began their journey from Fiji, Samoa, and Tonga. They possessed advanced knowledge of navigation, a skill that enabled them to cross the great distances between the islands. Polynesian societies are mostly hierarchical. Some cultures are based on chiefdoms, and others on kingdoms. Both men and women can become chiefs. But in the traditional system, men normally act as talking chief spokespeople. For female leaders, the Pacific Islands are home to about 20% of the world's languages. Melanesia has the region's greatest diversity of language. About 850 languages are spoken in Papua New Guinea alone. More than 100 languages are spoken in Vanuatu and in the Solomon Islands. About 15 languages are spoken in Micronesia, and about 30 in Polynesia. In addition to native languages, many Pacific Islanders speak Chinese, English, French, Hindi, or Japanese. This diversity of languages reflects the region's colonial past. English is the dominant language in the north and south. French is widely spoken in French Polynesia, New Caledonia, and Wallis and Futuna. Spanish is spoken on Easter Island. Several Pacific societies, including Fiji, Hawaii, French Polynesia, Nauru, Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu have developed simplified, mixed languages called pidgin languages. These languages give people who speak many languages a means of communicating with one another. Before the arrival of Europeans, the islands had a number of religions, all based on a belief in numerous gods or spirits. Most religions had a complex mythology centered around stories of the creation of Earth and relationships between the gods and people. See mythology. Mythology of the Pacific Islands. Christianity has been the most widely followed religion in Oceania since the late 1800s. Asian populations in the Pacific are primarily Buddhist or Christian. Most of Fiji's Indian population is Hindu, and others are Christian, Muslim, and Sikh. Islam and the faith have also gained converts in the islands. Traditional beliefs and practices involving music, dance, eating and exchanging food, and other ceremonies still exist, especially in Melanesia. In other islands, these practices are often mixed with Christianity. Almost all islanders honor their ancestors in various ways.